Everybody was stunned about the work in the film.
All the light bulbs are going off in everybody's mind that, oh my God, we've never seen this before.
It's sort of like splitting the atom. You know, once it happens, the industry shifts and everybody starts talking.
Everybody wanted to see the movie. Everyone was excited about the movie. Everyone wanted to know how we made the movie. It was just unbelievable.
It was one of those movies that became a phenomenon. It changed pop culture.
Phil Tippett, in a moment, realized what he was doing was obsolete. Stan Winston saw at that moment that technology was going to begin to encroach on what it was he did. It was clear to everybody that the movie industry was changing. ILM was in a building that they're not in anymore, but it was basically a warehouse building that was in San Rafael. It was always interesting because when you took people to ILM, I think they had in their mind that they were going to see something that was like magic. And in fact, it was a lot of guys sitting in front of computers.
ILM was not really a production facility. That's what I love about it. It was really a lab, you know. We were inventing, we were experimenting with things. It was total Frankenstein shop, but digital.
To us, it was just exciting. I mean, to us, it was kind of that rush of, yeah, we're doing something that's so incredible that nobody's seen before.
It was a pretty small cadre of people that had worked on shows like we were working on and had done the kinds of things we had done.
We'd done a few really neat things. We'd done Young Sherlock and The Abyss. And we took on Terminator 2. Nobody saw, when they saw T2, what was actually going on in that show that could be applied to anything. But Steven came up with the idea of, well, I think, you know, let's go ahead and let's do Jurassic. The time's right, I have a slot. But he wasn't thinking of CG.
Dennis Muren took us all out to a lunch, and he said that Spielberg's coming up with this film, and it's going to be stop motion. Tippett's doing all the work. And would it be possible to add motion blur to the stop motion data? So Mark and I batted up right away. Why don't we just build the whole damn thing in CG? Oh, no. No, you can't do it.
I immediately stuck up my arm and said, hey, come on, digital dinosaurs. But it was definitely, we had to evolve to that point. Spielberg, I believe, had already begun the process of designing and building dinosaurs quite some time before with Stan Winston's group. They do amazing animatronic, puppeteering, sculptures, etc. That whole world of physical visual effects.
And we were going to use Phil Tippett, who was considered at the time the best in stop motion.
Stop motion essentially is that if you wanted to have a dinosaur walk, you're posing it, you take a picture, then you do the next pose and you take that picture.
But it seemed like an incredible lost opportunity that here you've got this big film going on, and the fundamental imagery is going to be a process that's sort of, you know, on the verge of being obsolete. You know, I've been pushing for CG for years, but I didn't think we were ready for it. I wasn't sure.
I think the issue in Jurassic Park for everyone was, can you do something that's real? That's alive, that's breathing, that sweats. So there was a lot of doubt about that.
You know, stop motion was sort of a well-defined process. What Stan was going to do was well-defined. We were just kind of coming in and saying, well, what if we can do this? Wouldn't it make a much more dynamic film?
We told ourselves, if we don't try, we're idiots. Myself and Spaz and others too, we were believers. Like, this is the way to do it.
The boat had left the harbor already, you know, kind of thing. We were doing stop motion, right? We were going to be adding motion blur to it. So I secretly started to build a set of T-Rex bones.
Steve's spirit was a little bit of a rebel. He said, well, let me just try it. I don't care if anybody officially says we can't do this. Stefan, let's just do this. And I worked with him doing the part of the lighting and shading and rendering.
That was done after hours, and Spaz did most of the early work entirely himself. We would just talk about it, look for references, look for ideas, talk about what we're trying to do.
A couple of the guys working on it, Mark DePay and Steve Williams, were just saying, no, let's try this. And they were sort of working in the back, and I was saying, guys, don't do this, you know, Phil's my buddy, he's got the job for everything else, you know, and just let this play out, thinking that eventually there might be a sea change on the show.
So I built these set of bones, I had a walk, and I knew I was not going to be allowed to show it. Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall were coming up, and I knew they were coming up on a Monday in November of 1991. They came walking in, and I had it playing on a monitor, and the whole deal changed at that point.
It was immediately very clear that we were going to get realistic movement to these dinosaurs that was going to be far advanced from what we were doing with stop motion.
It looked incredibly fluid, like real bones sort of walking around by themselves.
So the next thing was, well, can we do it with a skinned dinosaur.
My thought was, if we're going to try to really make this work, we need to be able to do the hardest shot we could actually do. Let's just have a locked off camera, this T-Rex big, walking toward us with kind of a wide angle lens. We're not hiding anything. It took us a matter of weeks going on for this. And when we looked at this thing, it was like, oh my God, this actually looks real.
Tippett didn't really know this was going on. So Dennis had met, with Amblin, said, I got to show you guys this kind of cool test.
It was just me and Stan Winston, and we went down and showed it to them, and they just went nuts.
There were about 5 or 6 of us that gathered in the Amblin screening room. And Dennis brought down the film, and it was one of those incredible moments. Every now and then when you're involved in an industry, something happens and you know that it's just incredibly groundbreaking and it's going to change everything. And this was one of those moments. Every single one of us jumped to our feet because we couldn't believe what we were looking at.
And Stan disappeared for like 30 minutes. I still don't know what Stan did for the 30 minutes afterwards. But I think what he did was he saw this amazing thing and ran out to the telephone or something and said, we got to get into this business, this computer business.
I think everyone's reaction in the room was probably the same. It was like, we're seeing something, special. At that point in time, it dawned on me that, wow, there's nothing that can't be done now. This is truly a game changer.
And once everybody saw that, I think that's when Phil got the phone call and said, we're not doing the stop motion anymore. That's what we're going to do, computer graphics.
We moved into guerrilla mode. We started building everything, in computer graphics. And Phil was still kept on because he really was the knowledge when it came to, dinosaurs. He'd studied them all his life.
It started out where it was only going to be a few shots, then it was a few more shots.
By the end of the show, Steven rewrote the ending of it so that we could do a close-up of a T-Rex, and it takes place in this rotunda with these 2 raptors, and then the T-Rex comes in, it pans down, a raptor jumps on it, it lifts it up. That's the most amazing thing, and we had no idea 2 weeks before that we could even do a shot that close.
I thought it would be a really good movie, but I was blown away how great a movie it was.
I remember the first times when we all saw it and with audience, it was so much fun to just go like this, sit in the front row and just look at people,
It just broke everything open, and suddenly the writers could tell stories they never imagined they could tell. You could do animals, you could do tornadoes, and they looked real for the first time. You could just do anything.
I just think there was an explosion that was visceral in that movie of those dinosaurs coming into our world, and I think that's reflective of the newfound power of creating imagery that was inherent in the computer.
After that, there became a real trend towards over-reliance on CG. And I think a lot of the great work that we did got overshadowed. I think it's about 15 minutes of dinosaurs in that whole movie. 9 of it was done with our practical dinosaurs in one shape or form or another. It's not to take anything away from what great CGI work was done and how groundbreaking and how game-changing that was.
But no one really saw any of this coming, There was just a few of us that really knew it was really time to do it. But we were mavericks at that time. We really thought that always question established system, and had we not done it then, it probably would have happened in 5-6 years.
People did come to Industrial Light and Magic, filmmakers, when they wanted to do something which had never been done before, and that was very exciting to be at that edge.
It was a special place to be in. It was a very creatively fertile environment. They let us just go nuts. That helped us to be able to do things like Jurassic Park. Myself and Steve in particular, we were just, planting the flag. Come on, guys, this is a chance we can do something unbelievable. That was kind of all we were doing.
You had to be arrogant about it because had we failed, it would have been the end. There was no room for failure at this point. I love the term, you will never. If I listened to you will never, T-Rex wouldn't have been built.